Hello everyone, we are the FPL trio. I'm Pulkit and I'm joined by my co-hosts Daniel and Michael as always. How's it going, Daniel?
It's going great. Yeah, we're gonna do the mid-price defenders. Excited for that. I think there's a lot of good options. So yeah, let's see what we get. Michael, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Actually, to talk about defenders in FPL, and yeah, there's quite a few mid standouts, so we can get to it. How about you, Ocean?
Yeah, doing good. I'm out on a trip, so enjoying quite a bit. So yeah, let's start with the mid-price defenders. This is part of a playlist where we are basically reviewing players from different price ranges and different positions. We already have done the goalkeepers and cheap defenders, so please go and check out those videos. The links would be there in the description below. And in this video, we'll basically go through the stats for some mid-price defenders. So let's make a start. So these are some stats for the mid-price defenders. By mid-price, we mean 5 million and 5.5 million defenders. So the table here shows some key stats for them. There's a lot of information. So let me go through them one by one. So first few columns are quite self-explanatory: name, club, price. Minutes is basically from the 2023-2024 season, along with the number of starts. The current ownership is basically the percentage ownership from FPL.team for the top 1% managers. And then we have actual FPL points per 90 from the last season and expected FPL points per 90. Similarly, goals plus assists or goal involvement, actual and expected per 90 numbers. Then bonus points from the last season, what they would have got based on the old bonus point rules and what they would have got on the new bonus point rules. So all this work has been done by FPL.team and there's a video on it from Above Average FPL. So that's actually quite a good description about the rule change for the bonus point. And then basically we have shots on target and fouls won. This is included here because now it has a massive say in deciding the bonus points for the players. We have corners and free kicks just to basically see which of the defenders are actually on set pieces, because that would help quite a lot. And finally, we have predictions from different tools or websites such as like Fantasy Football Fix, Fantasy Football Scout, FPL.team, and Fantasy Hub. So these different websites do their own set of predictions on how many points a player would get. And this basically shows for the first 4 game weeks. So what we have done here is basically taken the median value for those predicted points for the different players. And uncertainty basically shows how much the different websites or tools agree or disagree. So higher the uncertainty, the less reliable are those predicted points for that particular player. Then the colors, basically the red color or the warning color is basically for those who had relatively lower minutes last season. So it's less reliable to rely on those stats. And finally, the yellow color under the name basically shows that that particular player is a bit overperforming or underperforming his expected numbers. So now over to you, Daniel, to make a start.
Yeah, sure. Let's dive right in. First of all, I just want to say Zinchenko, 129% uncertainty. That's kind of worrying. Anyways, diving right in, let's start with looks like the main man on here, Pedro Porro, 5.5 mil, 17.5 ownership, 121 corners and free kick taken last season. That's a staggering number. I mean, no one else has more than five on this list right now, which is crazy. But we have to mention that a lot of the season was without Madison, who is the corner taker and the free kick taker, I would say, for Spurs. So that's something to consider. He's still going to be really good. I mean, all the stats here, the old bonus, new bonus, he's obviously went down significantly, but it's still a good number. Same with the FPL points per game and fouls one shot on target. Everything's feeling like got better. Personally, I don't have him, but I don't know if that's going to change before the start of the season. Michael, over to you.
Yeah, so there's a few notable names in this list for the mids. Pedro Porro is definitely one to watch, but like Daniel said, Madison's back almost full time, I think. So his corners and free kick may die down. That means that median might be closer to 10 rather than 15. Zinchenko, let's just say he gave me nightmares last season, so I'm going to stay away from him. But one player I'm going to be watching quite a lot is Reece James. I know his stats there does not look great, but he's going to be coming back in, I think, game week 4 or 5. And his preseason's been amazing. So he's been solid at the back. It seems like he hasn't missed any games. So he's on my radar at the moment. How about you, Bullshit?
Yeah, for me, to be honest, I was not actually considering Pedro Porro too strongly until we started looking into his stats and basically collecting all this data together. And now I think he'll mostly be in my team. It is a good point that you both mentioned that with Madison in the team, his set piece responsibilities would die down a bit. But I still think they would be shared rather than he shifting those completely to Madison. Also, with Madison, I'm not sure if he stays fit throughout the season. I'm also expecting Angie to basically moderate his tactics a bit, not be the complete attacking or basically just score more goals kind of manager for this season as well. So basically, I expect that Spurs would have more clean sheets this season. I could be completely wrong, but with the clean sheets and attacking potential for Pedro Porro, I think he's one of the best medium priced defenders. I think he'll challenge the premiums also in terms of points and everything. Then for Zinchenko, I think the uncertainty basically shows how uncertain even the different AI tools are on his start. We have the Arsenal expert here. So, Daniel, I'd like to ask you.
If we look at the stats, he started 20 games last season, only played 1,700 minutes, and now with Caliafori being signed and Timber is back from his ACL injury, I wouldn't have high hopes of Zinchenko, starting on a regular basis. Timber is a great player. I loved him in preseason last year, and Caliafori also at the Euros, so it's gonna be a tough competition. So yeah, I would say avoid Zinchenko because I think 3 out of the 4 defenders are probably named Branthwaite, Saliba, and Gabriella, and then for that last spot, they're all fighting for it. Even maybe Branthwaite might be rotated, but yeah, it's gonna be mayhem in the Arsenal defense for the wing backs. So yeah, Zinchenko, I would say for now at least, steer away from her.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Interesting thing, sorry, Pulkit, is the Man City defenders. Right now in my latest draft, I actually added Kyle Walker in. And his ownership, I think, rose significantly from here. I'd like to have a City defender in my team. Clean sheets odds are maybe on par with Arsenal's. So he's either him or even Ruben Diaz. I'm sure we'll get to him in the next slide. There are people I'm considering for my team. What about you guys? Any City defenders in mind, or do you currently have any?
It's funny you say that about Walker because I was just about to bring him up also. He's definitely in my watch and see list because if you see the minutes numbers, he played 2,700 minutes or so, but he has the highest median predictions for the first 4 game weeks. So he doesn't really need to start the game. He can be on the bench and still be, a good point scorer. Because I remember last season, I think in the latter part, he was on the bench, came in the 20th minute, and then keeps a clean sheet, and he still got 2 bonus points, I think, after that, or something along those lines. And I was so happy because I did not see the team in deadline, and he was in my starting lineup. So that's just with Walker, and I think all Man City players, they don't need to have the highest minutes, but they'll still have a very good output.
Yeah, Pulkit.
Yeah, currently I don't have any City defenders at the moment. I had Guardiola for a short stint. I'm still considering Guardiola as a premium defender in my team. But for Walker and Ake over here, I just don't want to get into that pep roulette. And also, there is a high likelihood I might have maybe 2 attackers from City. So I think maybe it would be somewhat like blocking a spot with if I also have Walker in there. So most probably I won't start with Walker or Ake, the ones that we see on this list. I'm actually considering Munoz. He is actually quite a attacking player, quite popular in the community, but maybe I still have to think whether paying the extra 0.5 over Anderson in the same team is worth it or not.
Yeah, he is also the quite highly owned 18.9 on this list. So he is, as you said, popular. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't justify spending an extra point 0.5 for someone I can get a lower price.
Yeah, that's a good point. Then we have Gusto from Chelsea over here, also another attacking option. Depends. Like, of course, Chelsea's first game, Manchester City at home, the most difficult one could ever get. But after the game week 1, they are quite good fixtures. So it's basically between Gusto and James. Not sure. You mentioned something about James, Daniel.
Oh, it was Michael, I think, who was.
Okay.
So he's fit, but he's suspended. Yeah, so I think he's been suspended for about 2 or 3 game weeks. So he should be coming in that game week 4, around there, unless Gusto has this, miraculous 4 week good game streak. Reece James should be starting from game week 4 onwards.
Yeah, then probably could be a case of don't go for any of them. Like both seem to be minutes less. The only problem is that first 4 games, 3 of those first 4 games for Chelsea are actually quite good. So it feels like a missed opportunity if we don't go for it.
Because I think with Chelsea, they're the new Tottenham for the season, where I can't see them keeping too many clean sheets with their
Okay.
preseason form, but their midfield attack is so good where if their wingbacks can hit form, they can get all those assists like Porro Romero was getting last year.
Also, we have Shar from Newcastle over here. Think most of us would be considering the cheaper option in Burn, as we also discussed in our cheap defenders video. But any of you considering Shar?
Not really. I mean, at 5.5, I'd rather go for Pedro Porro or Kyle Walker. And as you said, if I want a Newcastle defender, I can get Dan Burn or Margay if he ends up going to Newcastle. So yeah, not. What about you, Michael? Are you thinking about him or not at all?
Not with Newcastle defenders. You have Burn, who's much cheaper, or can, for I think it's 0.5 more, there's triple premium defender. So, I mean, yeah, Shaw is at this price point where there's other players that have better outputs for better prices.
Yeah, agreed. And okay, so basically we do have some other options as well in this coming up in this different list. So Branthwaite from Everton, Ruben Diaz from Manchester City, and maybe also Cucurella from Chelsea, who had actually quite a good season last time around. Any players that strike out to you, Daniel, from here?
No. Branthwaite, I mean, he was so good last season, but with Mikolenko at 4.5, I wouldn't see that 500,000 being justifiable for Branthwaite, who's not an attacking threat. I mean, I know he scored a few goals that season, but in terms of like actual attacking output, it's what an Everton guy go for Mikolenko. And for the other line, Ruben Diaz is also a city defender that I'm looking at, either him or Akanji or Kyle Walker. I mean, whoever is the most nailed, if we even know that. And as you mentioned, Cucurella, he had a good Euros. He had a great Euros, and he was having a good last season at the end of it. So he is someone to monitor if you want someone from Chelsea. You don't want to go for the Reece James or Malagusto roulette. So yeah, but personally, I haven't been thinking much about like these specific players, and we can see their stats don't stand out as much as the previous page, the page we just discussed, and I think the ownership percentage also reflects from that. Michael, what about you? Any other additional insights?
Yeah, so in here, Cucurella, he's the one I had in my first couple of drafts. Yeah, like you said, Daniel, he had a very good Euros, and he's probably the only Chelsea, not defender that's nailed in that position, unless he gets injured. But apart from that, there's not really any other players in this list that I would go for because of the price and fixtures compared to other players I've really discussed. How about you, Bullshit?
Yeah. So basically, I think a lot of the players on this list are like maybe good options, but they are not good enough because there is an alternative for them in the same team. So, for example, for Branthwaite and Tarkowski, you have Mikalenko. For Udogi, you have a Pedro Porro sitting there. Then basically for Diaz, Akanji, in City, you have Walker, you have in the premium Guardiol if you want to go there. Manchester United, we basically are not looking into too much. Let's see how they do in the first few games, and then maybe we can look at them. Shaw could actually be quite a good option. Maybe also Delort, but let's see how United sort out their defense. And then for Liverpool, I'm not sure how many minutes Gomez gets now this season, but I'm not seeing him start the season. It would most probably be Konate, Van Dijk, Trent, and Robertson, the back four, with Kwanzaa coming in at times. But Gomez, because he is quite versatile, he might get some minutes, but again, not near, so not really an option. Cucurella is one that probably shines out of this list, but otherwise, not really anyone else.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess that's it for the medium price defenders. As always, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and see you in the premium video.